I want to tell you a story. It's a true story, and it's another interaction with an NPC when I was last in England 3 weeks ago. So one of my favourite authors is Ayn Rand, pretty famous libertarian, and Ayn Rand coined this phrase about people who deny reality. Whoops. And basically she said, you can deny reality, but you won't be able to deny the consequences of choosing to do that. And that's what this story is about. Because I don't know about you, I think one of the hallmark features, one of the defining features of a normie or an NPC is their propensity to deny reality. Normally it's things that they don't like or are wary of, or things that are unpleasant to them. Their response is, rather than trying to fix a problem or whatever, is to deny that the problem actually exists. So to set the scene, yeah, so we go round to see this NPC couple that we knew when we were living in Guildford, in Bramley, and decide, oh, let's go to the pub. So in Bramley there's two pubs. One of them is called the Wheat Sheaf and the other one's called the Jolly Farmer. And anyway, the first pub that you come to is this Wheat Sheaf, and it was all boarded up. There was on the windows and the doors, it had like some sort of external covering on it, and it said something like secured by insert name of company that specialises in boarding up kind of derelict premises. So I say to this NPC, oh dear, oh, it looks like it's gone bust, the pub's gone out of business. For me, this wasn't really a great surprise. There's lots of pubs in England that are going bust all the time, every single week, and this one was never particularly busy, to the extent that I often thought, well, is this some sort of front for money laundering, you know? Anyway, this NPC responds with, oh no, it's not. It's not gone bust. So this is an example of somebody who's denying reality. The place is boarded up, but she's still trying to insist to me that, oh no, it's just closed, it's not gone out of business, despite all of these kind of signs on the exterior of the business saying that it's secured, you know, i.e. permanently closed. So what's going on here? Well, how can we explain this behaviour? Well, I think what it is that this NPC is kind of, they bought, although they're not from Surrey, they kind of bought into this social one-upmanship, and you know, obviously they know where we live and everything, and maybe they're sort of, I don't know, jealous or something, or maybe they have some sort of an inferiority complex, and maybe she just couldn't stand the thought of one of the places in which they live, you know, struggling, closing down. Things aren't going well in sunny Bramley, and that was too much for her to admit that was happening in her vicinity, in her local neighbourhood. That was just too much for her to kind of publicly state in front of me, because the NPC was worried about losing face. So a decision was made to deny reality, and then also she wanted me to buy into her kind of fake world that she was creating. She wanted me to, oh, maybe it's just I don't know, maybe they've gone to the dentist or something, I don't know. Of course it was the same during the People's pantomime, wasn't it? Which reminds me of an Instagram post that Mike Yeadon made today, and it relates to something that Miri AF has written. I'll post a link up to it. And basically, it was about like how deep does the conspiracy go, blah 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 blah. And yeah, you know, millions and millions of people were acted as low-level enablers, and they took part in a theatre production called A Deadly Virus. Now, Miri AF, she says, oh, a lot of these people unwittingly denied reality, and they kind of acted, they were sort of method actors, you know. They were genuinely afraid, and they played the part of extras in this movie or this theatre production called The Deadly Virus. For me, I disagree with that. I think it was inconceivable that any sentient human being with an IQ of double figures or more could have been fooled into thinking that there was a danger. And this has been one of the themes of my channel over the last 3 or 4 years, is that no one can actually say that they were genuinely tricked, because it was all so blatant. You know, as I say, act like you've got it. One of the symptoms is that there aren't any symptoms. What I would say is that these people were not method actors. These people were NPCs who'd made a conscious decision to deny reality. And in this case, the reality was nobody was dying. Nobody, apart from people who were being terminated with Matty Dazalan inside care homes. You know, the very, very elderly, who were on their last legs anyway. And it was self-evident that nobody who was who didn't have, what did they call it? They even said it to us, didn't they? With nobody who had serious health comorbidities was at risk from the yeah. So what I'm saying here is that these people, they went along and played a role, acted in a part of a play, a film, The Deadly Virus, and they knew that they were acting. They knew that they were acting. They were denying reality, weren't they? They were pretending that there was a deadly when there wasn't. And the acting even went as far as accepting the miracle cure, you know, and they did that. That maybe was motivated by fear, but it was the fear of not fitting in. So that's what made them take part in the medical experiment. But you know, as Ayn Rand says, you can deny reality, but you won't be able to deny the consequences of choosing to do that. And that's what these NPCs are suffering from now. You know, this NPC might deny that the pub's shut, but the problem is that she won't be able to go to the pub, because even though she thinks it's not shut, it actually is. And then the other thing as well is, obviously they had the magic sauce. One of them had it 4 times. Maybe the other one had it more than 4 times. I don't know. But their health ain't great. One of them is a type 2 diabetic. So she must know that following the NHS's healthy eating advice for diabetics, she's got a continuous glucose monitor. So surely she should kind of realise that the advice that she's been given, it's not working, is it? But what's happening is that this kind of urge to defer to authority and do what you're told to do, it kind of trumps acknowledging reality. So yes, she's making a choice to deny reality, but she won't be able to escape the consequences of doing that, which is, you know, having the sauce and the ill health, and not good. This couple have got a kid, and same age as my son. So this was their decision to deny reality and take part in the people's pantomime. Resulted in schools closing down, exams being cancelled, and it was, you know, that affected their kid. This kid now has all sorts of mental health problems. They fully embrace the woke culture, you know, about genders and all of that stuff. So they are denying reality. You know, reality is XXXY, right? There is no other. It's either XX or it's XY, yeah? That's reality. But the woke stuff is, well, denial of that, isn't it? Now, you, as I keep on saying, you can deny reality, but you can't deny the consequences of that. So you end up screwing up young people's minds, don't you? By going along with lies. This person also had the magic sauce as well. So all those kind of consequences are coming home to roost. And I think the other thing as well is that deep down they actually know it. A few people have said to me, oh, you're being a bit too harsh on NPCs and normies. And to that, I would say, I understand the point, but if you've got an NPC and a normie who's still in the business of trying to deny reality, I think for me as a Christian, it's my duty to kind of just counter that and speak the truth. We're commanded by God to speak the truth. So this is what I did. The other thing, this is going to be a separate video, is there was a certain, if you actually have read the book, then you'll actually know that speaking truth to power is an important part of our kind of remit. It's what we're supposed to do. And sometimes people can say things that greatly offend other people. And some, you know, but we should do it. We should keep on doing it. So yeah, I've got no problem about that. And then also, if you've got an NPC who's trying to take the mickey, well then, you know, they just have to be countered, don't they? So yeah, that's all I'm going to say today. So God bless.